This is the Bluetti Elite 300, a 3 kWh power station that gives you more capacity without needing expansion batteries. It's still relatively portable, offers fast charging and excellent efficiency, but there are some important trade-offs you need to know about. In this video I'll show you what it does well, where it falls short and how it compares to other power stations like the EcoFlow Delta 3 Max Plus and DJI Power 2000, based on detailed real-world testing and measurements. So let's take a closer look. The power station only comes with a mains charging cable, manual and a grounding screw. There's no car or solar charging cable included. This is the first power station I've tested with a built-in battery over 2 kWh. The Elite 300 has a 3 kWh LFP battery rated for 6,000 charge cycles. It weighs 26.3 kilograms, only about 2 kilograms heavier than the Elite 200 V2, and it's not dramatically larger either, so still manageable to move around. Build quality is good, the exterior is mostly hard plastic. There's no official weatherproof rating though, so you do need to be careful about using it outdoors. Around the front you've got the display, USB ports including a 140 watt USB-C, two 12 volt outputs, DC input and two AC outlets. Around the side is the AC input and circuit protection. A long press of the main power button turns the unit on, another single press toggles the display and a long press turns it off. Either side of that are the buttons to toggle the DC, including the USB ports and the AC outlets. The power station can charge from mains power, solar panels or your car. Mains charging speeds will vary depending on location, but here in the UK, if you enable turbo charging in the app, the Elite 300 charges at 2,300 watts. I charged the unit from completely flat to 80% in 1 hour 12 minutes, a fair bit faster than Bluetti's under 1.5 hour claim. A full charge took 1 hour 42 minutes, although this will vary depending on temperature and battery conditions. It's not the quietest power station I've tested. I measured around 50 dB, 1 metre from the power station. The fans do keep the unit quite cool though, as you can see with my thermal camera images. But compare that to the EcoFlow Delta 3 Max Plus I just reviewed, where I could barely hear the fans, also charging the unit at full speed. You can drop the charging speed. Standard mode charges at 1200 watts and silent mode at 800 watts. The fans are quieter in silent mode, but when they come on you can definitely still hear them. You can also set a custom charging speed from 1 amp to 10 amps. This should really be in watts, amps will be confusing to the average user. Disappointingly, even charging at 1 amp, just 250 watts, I still had the fans turn on intermittently. With the optional car charging cable, you can charge from your car's 12 volt outlet at around 105 watts, so a full charge will take well over a day. Some vehicles have a 24 volt system that will double that speed, but it's not that common. I initially got slightly strange results using my van's 12 volt car outlet, but realised you have to go into the advanced settings in the app and set the DC input source to others for charging off your car's battery. By default it's set to PV for solar charging. Putting this back to PV mode, I tested this same DC input for solar charging. The Elite 300 can charge at up to 1200 watts via its integrated MPPT controller. There's only one XT60 input, so it's not as flexible as say the EcoFlow Delta 3 Max Plus, but with the right panels and enough sun you might achieve 1200 watts. The solar input is 12 to 60 volts at up to 22 amps. My bench power supply only has 1000 watts maximum output, so I could only set the voltage up to 45 volts, but I at least confirmed the maximum current. When the sun made an appearance, I tested the Elite 300 initially with a single Bluetti PV350 350 watt foldable panel. You'll need an MC4 to XT60 adapter, which isn't supplied with the power station or panel. I got around 250 watts, which is pretty good. With a 60 volt maximum input, you'll have to connect your typical panels in parallel. Series would overload the input. I added two Renogy 200 watt panels using these parallel adapters, which makes it super easy. I'll have a link to the adapters down below. With all the panels connected up, I got around 550 watts at 31 volts, so just under 18 amps. Ideally you'd want some higher voltage panels for the best results with this setup, otherwise you'll just hit the current limit well before the 1200 watt limit. The Elite 300 has two 2400 watt pure sine wave AC outlets. That's considerably lower than most other 2 kWh power stations I've tested. Even the Elite 200 V2 can output 2600 watts, and units like the EcoFlow Delta 3 Max Plus and DJI Power 2000 offer 3000 watts and 4 AC outlets. There is powerlifting mode that lets you run purely resistive loads like heaters and hairdryers up to 4800 watts, but I'd leave this off in most cases as it works by lowering the output voltage, which isn't suitable for sensitive electronics. I tested the output to its limit with a steady load charging another power station and then ramping up an electric heater until I overloaded the power station. It could run beyond its 2,400 watts, at least for a short while, and only switched off at over 2,800 watts. I also ran it at its maximum 2,400 watts load for over 10 minutes without any issues. I tried various real-world tests around the house and in the garage. Around the house it could run a vacuum cleaner, coffee machine, and it would excel at running your fridge and freezer in a power outage. My full height fridge and freezer combined use around 844 watt hours per day, so you could run them for over 3 days off this power station. In the garage it could run most corded power tools, including my beefy DeWalt circular saw. Checking this with my clamp meter, that pulls over 20 amps or over 4,600 watts at startup, confirming Bluetti's claim it can handle surges of up to 4,800 watts. It also easily coped with my 100 litre compressor and my Festool track saw and vacuum combined. However, it couldn't run any of my machinery. I can normally get these larger power stations to at least run my bandsaw, but with a startup draw of over 26 amps, which is over 6,000 watts, it was too much for the Bluetti. AC inverters can consume a surprising amount of power even with no load attached. In eco mode, the AC subsystem will turn off if there's no load attached. But with eco mode turned off, I left the unit overnight for 16 hours with no load connected. After 16 hours, the battery dropped from 100% to 90%, so just having AC turned on uses around 19 watts per hour. This is the best result I've seen from a larger power station, which will be partly due to the smaller inverter. To measure usable capacity, I used an energy monitoring plug and ran a constant 1 kilowatt resistive load using an electric heater. The power station ran for 2 hours 46 minutes and delivered 2,819 watt hours from its 3,014 watt hour battery. That's an impressive 94% efficiency, which is excellent for a unit of this size. One thing to note is the Elite range isn't expandable, so you can't add extra battery capacity. It's great to see Bluetti include a 12 volt 30 amp DC output via XT90. This 30 amp output is useful for higher demand devices like fridges and diesel heaters that can spike well above the typical 10 amp limit. It would also allow you to run multiple DC loads at the same time, for example in a camper van. There's also a standard 12 volt 10 amp car socket for more typical accessories. I tested both DC outputs to their limits using a load tester. The 10 amp output got to 14.5 amps and the 30 amp output reached 31.1 amps before overloading the power station. Although the voltage did drop at the higher outputs on the 10 amp output, it still reached over 180 watts, which you don't often see on a standard 12 volt car outlet. I measured DC efficiency using the XT90 output with a 20 amp load. The usable energy came out at 2,866.2 watt hours, which is a super impressive 95% efficiency. I also measured DC idle drain with DC enabled, no load attached, and DC eco mode turned off. Over 16 hours, the battery dropped from 100% to just 98%, which worked out at less than 4 watts of idle draw, one of the best results I've seen. So both AC and DC efficiency are excellent, as is idle consumption. You need to enable DC to use the USB outputs, and the Elite 300 offers a decent selection. One 140 watt USB-C port, one 100 watt USB-C port, and two 15 watt USB-A ports. I tested all ports at full speed and checked their supported charging standards. The USB-A ports don't support fast charging, just standard 5 volt output. I also tested charging very low power items like my AirPods Pro, which only draw around 1 watt. Even off the 140 watt USB-C port, they kept charging for more than 30 minutes, so it doesn't prematurely cut off very low power devices, at least with eco mode turned off. I loaded all the USB ports while also running a 2 kilowatt heater from the AC outlet with no issues. All ports support pass-through charging, so you can charge the power station and power devices at the same time. Like most power stations, the Bluetti includes a UPS or uninterruptible power supply mode. When the unit is plugged into mains power, connected devices run directly off mains rather than the battery. In the event of a power cut, the switch over to battery happens almost instantly, in less than 10 milliseconds according to Bluetti. I confirmed Bluetti's claims with my oscilloscope, measuring the transfer time at just 8.9 milliseconds, and tested this in real-world use with my desktop PC running an intensive graphics benchmark. It handled the transition flawlessly. Bluetti's smartphone app connects over Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. It's capable, but a bit overcomplicated. As I mentioned earlier, DC charging is buried in the settings, And working modes such as scheduling charging for off-peak electricity aren't explained in the app, so most people will likely miss them. They are covered in the manual, but that's not ideal. It is handy that a lot of the settings on the Elite 300 can be configured using buttons on the unit itself without needing to use the app. The Bluetti Elite 300 is a very interesting power station. That larger 3 kWh capacity in a still relatively portable unit will appeal to a lot of people. And it delivers excellent efficiency, both in usable output and idle consumption. Bluetti positions it for camping and camper van use, and the extra capacity along with a 30 amp DC output make it well suited for that. But it also would work very well as a home backup solution. The inverter is a little underpowered compared to some rivals, but for most people the bigger drawback will be the fan noise. Silent mode helps, but it's definitely not silent. I wouldn't really want it running nearby while sleeping. Hopefully this is something that Bluetti can improve with a firmware update, and I'll update the written article if that happens. Price is always tricky with power stations given the frequent discounts, but even with current deals this isn't cheap. It's around £500 more than the Elite 200 V2, so you have to decide whether that extra 1 kWh is worth it. You do gain a 140 watt USB-C port, but the 200 V2 has a slightly more powerful inverter. The DJI Power 2000 is currently even cheaper, offers 4 3000 watt AC outlets, and is one of the most expandable 2 kWh units I've tested. Overall though, the Elite 300 is a strong option if you want more capacity in a still portable unit without needing expansion batteries. If you found this review useful, a thumbs up really helps the channel. I read every comment and do my best to reply, so if you've got questions or your own experiences, let me know down below. You'll find affiliate links in the description if you'd like to support the channel, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.